Righty, how's it going everyone? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today we're going to do some heretical stuff. So yeah, hope everyone's having a good day. Whilst I'm putting the initial layers of paint onto the Death Guard, I thought it'd be a good idea to stream and talk about what I'm doing, as these are going to be far from standard, and I will be deviating away from artwork, which I've been usually using as my reference. And yeah. Yeah, Soren says I'm changing my chapter lore, found something that draws me to it more. That's awesome. What is it? The amount of sleep I get is not adequate. I know I'm not exactly the paragon of health, which I know is amusing with me starting Death Guard army, but yeah, please look after yourself. It's another customer sent the color fairy thing in the work in progress chat. Awesome. And yeah, I'll check that out after the stream. As yeah, my hobby desk is on the other side of the room. They're just making sure I got all the paints out which I want to use. And yeah, I think I've got everything in order. So, and hey Herm, how are you doing? Now, I'm painting Death Guard, and you're probably wondering, why are they silver? And that is because we're going off some of the older artwork for inspiration. So here's our sergeant. He's carrying a power scythe and an alchem pistol, which is a hand flamer with the flashbane rule, but also the gets hot rule. And I've also given him a Mark II helmet as well, just to spice things up a little. And yeah, I want to try and make these guys as close to the Black Library depiction of Death Guard as possible, using some artwork as inspiration on top of that. So hopefully you'll find this interesting. With that, I'm just going to pick up one of the regular guys. So in Black Library books, especially the first few, the the Death Guard are described as wearing plain grey or plain metal armor, with the only colour on their stuff being the colours used to create the markings and symbols to help them be identified on the battlefield. But I'm also aware that in other instances, ceramite is described as being white. So how can we be both simultaneously grey, well, gunmetal grey, and white at the same time? So I think Mark III is a very good template and basis to go with, because we have power armor, which would be grey or silver, with ceramite plating welded to the top of it. So what we're going to do is paint this guy as both silver grey and white, with all the extra armor paneling that makes it Mark III painted a whitey colour, and Mark II armor underneath left grey. or silver. We'll get onto that in a bit as well. So, what we'll do is get one of our beautiful painting handles, which is just a pot of Tamiya, and we shall begin painting a model. And to do this, we're going to start off with using a Vallejo colour. This is a German cream beige World War II. It's a long name, but yeah, it's a cream. And what we're going to do is apply it to our palette. But that is a palette, by the way. And we're going to grab our brush and pin it down on it all. We're just going to start blocking in the armor panels that make up the Mark III Marine. This reinforced plate on his toe. And I didn't put enough blue tack on. Bit better, and whilst this first layer won't cover perfectly, it will give us a good foundation to work from. To be honest, if you're painting Death Guard in a more normal way, I'd probably recommend using this paint as well, as it has a nice creamy texture to it. So what's everyone been up to today then? Hopefully you guys have been having good days. It's Labor Day here in the US, still have to work, but not till later, got my morning off. Well, that's nice, I suppose. Yeah, that is a good thing, right? Yeah, I'm not too familiar with American holidays. Obviously, I know the big ones, but I'm not really familiar with Labor Day. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning off, and I am honoured that you'd want to spend it with me. Hey Doyle, hope you're having a good day. And I'm glad to hear you got your Contemptor. So at the moment we are base coating the initial layers that I'm going to be painting white on the Death Guard. Be worried about going over the edges of this, as this is a paint. Yeah, I've airbrushed this with Vallejo metal colour, as I think it applies really well, but it also applies incredibly well with brush as well. So if I do make any mistakes, which I am, then it's not going to be a huge issue for me to then go back over and fix any parts which should be silver. So left foot. How's everyone's day been so far? It's been alright, Doyle. Some ongoing personal stuff, underlying things, but otherwise I am doing good. So Doyle's got his Dreadnought. Have you been working on anything to stay home? Well, this morning, or have you just not really had any time for any of that? Saurian's been working on their colour scheme, which I put on the Discord server. Obviously I can't tell who else is lurking here, but hey. If people want to interact in chat, they can, there's no pressure to. yeah, I suppose there's not really too much to say whilst I'm doing this. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or stuff you want to ask me about, now would be a great time. We had an extra D&D session today, so no hobbying. I tested Sigvald Burgundy in different ways and liked the result. I'm still going to try Volupus Pink though. Awesome. And yeah, I found, for me personally, that silver and then Volupus Pink works really well for the way I want to do things, but it does also look very good over gold. It makes it a little more red though. Yeah. Tuesdays are my hobby days, going to power through Primaris Fist tomorrow. The new Imperial Fist contrast really makes the yellow pop when put over the previous yellow. Yeah, absolutely. The reference I put should still be in tips and tutorials on Varak's server of the different, Imperial Fist yellow applied in different ways. And then onto detailing, and then characters finish up the army, not really a whole lot left. Awesome. It's always nice when you start to reach the end of a large painting project. It either has the whole Frodo, it's finally over kind of energy, or the hell yeah, it's over kind of energy. But either are both incredibly addicting, I find. Yeah, Imperial Fist contrast looks incredible. Saw it IRL yesterday. Yeah, yeah, it's my partner's Imperial Fists all being painted with Colourforge yellow spray, and then being gone over with the airbrush with the Imperial Fist contrast as a glaze. It really helps the vibrancy stick out, and I guess add some contrast. There you go, Sue. It's going good. Hopefully everything's alright for you. And yeah, we're beginning the process of painting the Death Guard. To keep the alternative colour scheme take going, yeah, we're going for a very different approach to how we're painting these guys. And yeah, that's going great. Built like 35 Mark 6 Marines yesterday. Awesome. And so what colours are we doing for this Death Guard scheme then? Yeah, so alternative colour schemes. So what we're doing is we're trying to replicate the Black Library depiction of the Death Guard. Which is that their armour is completely unpainted, with the exception of identification markings. Which is why in the first couple of books they're described as being in all of a grey metal kind of colour. and in later books they're described as being in white, as that's the colour which Black Library Games Workshop decided kind of halfway through the books that ceramite should be instead of silver. Also getting an Iron Circle robot as well. Nice. Yeah, I need to print out the what's the regular version of them called? Not the Iron Circle, it's the Domitar, isn't it? Need to get a couple of those. And so yeah, to kind of go over this. So what we're doing here with these Mark III Marines is they have Mark II armor, which is described as being a grey-silver colour, but it also has huge plates of ceramite welded onto the front of it, which is what makes it Mark III. So what we're doing is we're going to keep all of the regular Mark II areas painted silver and grey, and then all of the additional ceramite painted white. And at the moment what we're doing is we are base coating the areas we're going to be painting white with a beige colour. And in this case we are using Vallejo German Cream Beige World War II. A very long and awkward name, but yeah, you get the idea. I think Ushabti Bone is probably the closest from Games Workshop. Yeah, in Games Workshop paint terminology, we've base coated the model in lead belcher, and we're now painting all of the ceramite larger panels in Ushabti Bone. Although both paints I am personally using are from Vallejo. And thanks for that, Gosu. Can you send me a link to where you downloaded that file from as well at some point? As typically speaking, whilst I appreciate it, I do prefer to give the people who make the STL files money. So if I do end up making the Iron Circle, I do want to at least pay the people who made those files for them. Because Iron Warriors probably will be an army I do a detachment of at some point. Although they won't be in the next 3 armies I'm planning to do for Heresy. Well, legions I plan to do for Heresy. And yeah, it's great. The next project is going to be a dual run Chaos Space Marine Warband 40k, going to do it so I can play World Eaters and normal Chaos Space Marines. Going to supplement the Horus Heresy amenities in 2, still conflicted on my Legion of choice. Cool. And sorry, is the Heresy army going to be tied in to this Chaos Space Marine army, or are they 2 separate armies? And Doyle says, I find it quite funny that even though I'm going both the most decorated legion with most undecorated legion, because yeah, you're doing Death Guard and Emperor's Children like me, aren't you? I almost went to put the paintbrush in my coffee there. Which hilariously would have actually made the paint darker. But, so yeah, if you're watching this, thinking about how you can apply what I'm doing to your own Death Guard models. For those who do collect Death Guard, basically ignore the steps which involve painting the metal, unless you're talking about the weapons and stuff. There's the only real difference here between how I'd paint Death Guard properly and how I'm doing it here is I'm just leaving extra silver. And, well, there'll be one other change, but we'll get onto that when we get there. Tempted to get the Mark 6 Praetor on Saturday. Yeah. He does look really cool. I just have an abundance of characters at this point, as I will be especially as I'll be retiring my current Lucius proxy model in favour of running Lucius properly, so I'll have another fantastic Praetor model in my army, and yeah, I already have the two from the Age of Darkness box, which I converted, and I have all of my characters from before 2nd edition Heresy as well, so... I get a Traitor Legion, got some cool lore planned, awesome. And yeah, it's like, if you want to try and tie it in, then, you know, there are, as long as it's an undivided Traitor Legion, you can get away with making a large host of Cornates. Again, I'm going to shout out my boy Kroger from the Iron Warriors. There's an obvious example of how a Chaos Undivided Legion can have legionaries fall to a particular god. And yeah, I think when I do get around to doing Iron Warriors, I probably will try and make a Kroger model. Even though that's not necessarily the most sensible way to play Iron Warriors. I think it would still be fun to, you know, build such an aggressive Iron Warrior character and some units to back him up. So that's a question for you guys. Who is your favourite Iron Warriors character? So Gosu says Perturaba, but he really likes Forex. Very good choices. There is only one unacceptable answer. And It says, I wanted to imagine my EC Praetor as a custom character since it has the banner like Talix's model. Yeah. It's always fun to come up with your own homebrew lore and stuff for characters. And Doyle says, I'd probably go with Forex from what I've seen. And who asks, unacceptable answer? I'm assuming Barb and Falk? No, Falk is not an unacceptable answer. He is most definitely a valid character. Doyle's next suggestion was, is the unacceptable answer Varak? No. He is definitely a valid Iron Warriors character. And yep, Gosu has got it. The only unacceptable answer for best Iron Warriors characters is Dantiok. Dantiok is the only Iron Warrior I'd consider an incorrect answer because he betrayed his legion. Oh, on a side note, I'll try and tip it over, but I have the best mug in the world and you cannot tell me otherwise. So, for reasoning why I think Dantiok is the only unacceptable answer is because, yeah, well, he betrayed his legion. He turned against his Primarch and fought against his Primarch, but not only did he do that, but he also did so by working alongside the Imperial Fists, the sworn enemies of his legion. And also, to double down on that, not only did he work with the enemy of his legion, he also worked with one of the least interesting characters of the enemy legion. And in doing so, they brought the Tyranids to the setting. I'm more talking about Alexis Pollux, the Imperial Fist character. I know he's easy to forget, but yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about in this case. Dantiok working alongside the Ultramarines is fine, because the Ultramarines are cool. But yeah, the fact he's working alongside Pollux of the Imperial Fists against his Primarch. And yeah, I think I can remember who... Is it Gage? I feel like it's Gage. I can't remember. Yeah, Gosu says, in when Berkey betrays Perturov, there's an Ultramarine that shows up and they fight their way out of the fortress they are in. Yeah. Time for the second layer of the paint. Oh, we've got to do this guy as well. Also, Gosu also says, also, it is kind of sad how Perturabo gives Dantiok an impossible mission of holding off minions of Thrud, and Dantiok loses literally all of his men. Then Perturabo rages on him and declares him Excumicado. Eh. Say so. I've noticed half of the people watching on YouTube have left since I made the proclamation that Dantiok is not a Paladin warrior character. I do find that funny. Well, you know what they say, a decimation is good for the morale of the men. Herm says you paint fast. Do I? I don't feel like I do. At the same time, I'm not, because of just what stage of painting this is, I'm not exactly taking too much time with the details. I don't need to at this point. And I suppose first bit of Tuppy wisdom is use the correct brush with the job. So I'm using a wider brush, which has also got a flat tip. This is really good for painting flat panels, such as those found on Mark III Marines. And hey Hamish, welcome in. And it is pouring down on thunderstorms this afternoon. A good test for if the roofer did an adequate job. Yeah. Good luck. Hopefully you don't have to make a call to your insurance company. And yeah, at the moment we are just blocking in the creamy colour, which is going to be the base coat for our white on this guy. Oh wow, just as you mentioned that, it's just started pouring it down outside. Wow, that's really heavy. That's really annoying. The pot I am using as my painting handle started to leak. Wonderful. You did a rain dance. Well, thanks for that. Into everywhere. Right. I'm trying a new sacrificial paint pot. And somehow it's got even heavier. Holy. So from where I live, I can normally see the moors. You know, lovely hills. And yeah, I can't. The visibility is that poor. It's raining that heavily. Wow, that's impressive. Also, damn it, Hamish. I guess I'm going to have to tip the guy who's going to be delivering my food later a bit to cover the inconvenience. Yeah, I suppose back to a point earlier. Just because the nature of how I'm painting the models, But I'm simultaneously basically doing a guide for you guys on how to do Iron Warriors and Death Guard in a way. Because obviously I'm doing silver, there's going to be a other metallic color and also white on these guys, as well as a green trim. So, with the exception of doing a hazard stroke tutorial, we're basically doing Iron Warriors at the same time. Yeah, have you been working on much today, Hamish? You may have been at work, based off just what time you've come into the chat. Hey Alex, no worries, you haven't missed too much. We're in the process of just base coating the panels, which will be painting white on the on this tactical squad. yeah. Oh, hold on. His chest. So use this guy as a reference. What we're doing is we're painting all the areas which change it from being Mark 3. Well, yeah, change from being Mark 2 to Mark 3. We're going to have a fun little thought exercise in how the Death Guard should be based off the first couple of books of the Horus Heresy book series. Black Library. As to recap for everyone, the Death Guard are described as wearing plain unadorned armor, save for the identification markings. And that comes from the very first sentence about them in the second book. So at that point, power armor was a grey-silver color. And yeah, so the Death Guard in the Istvan campaign are described in the Black Library books as wearing grey-silver armor with the green markings to show that they're Death Guard. And so we're going off that idea, but also tying in the fact that later on in the book series, Ceramitis starts to be described as being a white colour instead. Which is also where the Citadel colour Ceramite white comes from. So what we're doing is we're painting all of the Mark II armoured bits of these Mark III Marines in silver grey, and we're painting all of the extra panels on top white. This way it allows us to make a very unique and interesting looking army, which ties into my whole theme of, the alternative colour schemes. Oops. Accidentally knocked the camera. Whilst also giving me an opportunity to show you guys how I'd do weathering effect on grey and white. As they are slightly different, and yeah, at the same time you could basically use following my process of painting for painting Iron Warriors and Death Guard. I suppose to a degree Iron Hands. But yeah, it's just gives us a nice little showcase for how I'd recommend going about painting and weathering. Again. And yeah, for those interested in colours, I'm using Vallejo metal colour. Where is the box? Oh, there it is. I can't tell anymore, unfortunately. It's worn off the bottom, but basically lead belcher as the metallic colour. And then I am using a Vallejo cream beige World War II, well, German cream beige World War II, for the base coating of the white areas. This is basically just Ushabti bone from Citadel. And yeah, I'll try and tell you guys what I think the suitable Games Workshop alternatives would be to the paints I'm using as we go along. Well, for as far as we can go with Citadel stuff, because we will be switching to enamels and oils for weathering. So yeah, if you're painting just Death Guard on its own, I'd probably recommend going Wraithbone as the spray. Then painting over with Ushabti bone. Herm asked, what's my favourite Horus Heresy book? I'm really looking forward to knowing if it. That's a difficult one. As I suppose it kind of flits with whatever I'm most interested with and excited about at the time. So right now, currently, it's probably Mechanicum, as I feel like it shines. It's quite well written. There's certain things I don't like about it too much, but overall, it's a really well written book covering a conflict which most people forget about and completely misunderstand its consequences. So it's a really interesting book. Also shows the Imperial Fist in their true colours, or more accurately, why they're painted yellow, because it hides the stains that they make when they see actual danger. But yeah, I also really enjoy the book Legion, and all of the Alpha Legion books I really enjoyed. I think they're all really good. And I do feel like before you start making judgments and opinions based off the Alpha Legion, that you read all of their books, as it does all tie together into a single narrative, which makes sense. If you only read a couple of the books, you'll miss out on some of the context and logic behind certain decisions in the others, which I think is a shame, because especially with the Alpha Legion, they are very misunderstood, and the fact that there isn't a singular book which can really help you understand their motives and intentions properly is unfortunate, just due to the nature of how people are these days. Alex says, should I buy The Infinite and the Divine? If you enjoy 40k, it is a must-read. There is genuinely a little bit of something for everyone in that book, regardless of what faction you like or what thing you like, and there are some magnificent moments in there which I don't think I could possibly have imagined being pulled off, and it is by far the most entertaining 40k book I have ever read. And you know what, actually I'm probably going to read it again at some point. Probably actually, tonight. And I've heard it's pretty funny. Oh yeah, no, there are genuinely. So I normally listen to audiobooks when I'm at work, because it's something to do and something to listen to keep me preoccupied when I'm usually on my own fixing computers and stuff. But I'm also then spend about just as much time in an office surrounded by other technicians and stuff. And welcome back, Gosu. And listening to Infinite and the Divine in audiobook form did cause a couple of moments where everyone looked at me very confused as I suddenly burst out with laughter for no apparent reason to them, and I had to explain to them, oh, it's just the audiobook I'm listening to. And there's just certain lines which really stab straight at the funny bone in that book. And there's just so many ridiculous, silly, and funny things that happen in that book, which feel so natural to the way the story's developing, but still incredibly unexpected. It's just fantastic use of humour to convey a story, which is also very serious and does actually cover some quite heavy topics. And yeah, it's just written spectacularly. And I cannot recommend Infinite and the Divine enough to 40k fans. Don't be put off by the fact the two main characters are Necrons. As all it really does is just facilitate even more nonsensical, silly adventures just because the, well, magical bullshit Necrons can pull off just because of what they are. I think I've worked it out. So with Infinite and the Divine, and like how I describe it. So you know how a lot of people these days are starting to draw comparisons between Marvel's Endgame and the Siege of Terror books, with the pacing, the use of characters, and the events that happen in them. I won't go into too many details because spoilers for the Siege of Terror series, but if you've read them, you know what I'm talking about. If if the Siege of Terror is the end game to Warhammer, then the Infinite and the Divine is for Ragnarok. Any recommendations on what not to build for the Contemptor? As much as it pains me to say, because I just love weapons, I can't see any real point in building the Graviton, or the sorry, not the Graviton, the Conversion Beamer. Yeah, the only time I'd ever consider running the Conversion Beamer, and this might be something for the inevitable second Contempt of Dreadnought, is if you're going to run dual Conversion Beamer. I think that's the only time I'd ever really consider using the Conversion Beamer, as I maintain that the Contempt of Dreadnought strength is in close combat, and if you aren't getting your Contemptor into close combat, you're kind of wasting it. And if you're running a Power Fist, the Contempt of Power Fist, which you probably should be running, you should think about what weapons would complement it into getting into close combat, or what other roles you need a Dreadnought to fill in your army. If you're missing anti-tank, then perhaps a las cannon or a multi-melter. No sub-assemblies. It's kind of a difficult one. Because obviously it's it's probably one of the best kits Games Workshop's actually put together. With just how incredibly posable it is, as they've learnt, well, all they've done is just convert the Forge World Contemptors into a plastic kit, which is fantastic, which also means you get all the posability and options that a the Forge World Contemptor gave us. But would I necessarily consider sub-assembling it? Probably not. Because there's not really enough of an inner chassis exposed. So how I'd probably recommend building it is you build the model and keep the arms separate. Don't build the arms, basically, until you're ready to magnetize them, and do that entire thing separately. And if you really want to push it with the whole sub-assembly painting, leave the arms completely detached from the model, and not even just leaving the upper bits on, and paint those separately. With my Contempt of Dreadnought, which I have, from the Age of Darkness box, I built that as a fixed model with a set loadout because I was fairly happy that I was going, with the knowledge that I was going to buy different Dreadnoughts. So to make it easier for myself, I didn't waste time magnetizing it. And yeah, it is quite a pig to build because of how incredibly posable it is. If you got time, what I'd probably recommend doing is going back to one of my first streams, in which I built the Forge World Dreadnought. As building that is basically the same process. Other than, you know, the special stuff you have to do for prepping Forge World. And shoulders, yeah, I would leave those detached for now. Yeah, work on those later. I was hoping to have been able to get some work done on the Contempt for the Death Guard army yesterday, but I just spent so much time putting together this model, but we just didn't have time for it. But depending on how things go tomorrow, I'll probably be streaming again, and we'll go through magnetizing the kit then. But yeah, if you want to get on with building your Contemptor tonight, and I know that's, you know, a very compelling and desirable thing to do, I would go back and watch my video on building the Forge World Contemptor. But if you want to wait and see if I'm streaming tomorrow, then we can go through it all tomorrow. And we can do a build along. I think, like, broad advice then, if you want to push ahead with it, is work out in your head how you want it to be posed. I think that's probably one of the most important things to work out first. And then try and use that mental image you come up with work out the positioning and try and fit the model into that. So once I finish putting this base coat on, we'll get the Forge-rolled Contemptor, which I was working on, and I'll talk about that a bit more. And will you be showing how to magnetize tomorrow? Yes, because I have, well, two Contempt of Dreadnoughts, and I want to be able to use both of them. So we'll be trying to magnetize them both as much as possible, so I can field both of them. And yes, Rylanor is the best Dreadnought, and whilst I know my take on Dantiok is he's not a Valadine warrior because he betrayed his legion. I don't feel the same necessarily about the loyalists from the Emperor's Children, as they were very much forced into it during the Esteban campaign. Even those who deserved to stay traitors were forced onto the field alongside the loyalists, which, you know, famously included Lucius. So not all of the Emperor's Children loyalists deserve to be there. Meanwhile on Twitch, Gosu says, super interested to read about Vulcan because he's almost never spoken of in the Heresy. Well, I'll try and keep my own personal opinions of the guy out of it, but yeah, I feel like it's with Ferguson. So here is my Forge World Contempt of Dreadnought. We haven't put any arms on him because I'll be magnetizing them. But yeah, in terms of posing, try and work out how you want to pose them. So I have these scenic bases, and I really wanted to have this guy stepping down. So I had that in mind when putting together the model. And with the feet, the shoulders, and the upper feet, what I did was I held them in place whilst trying to position them using just my fingers and holding them, you know, physically in place, memorizing where the feet and stuff were going. You can see I've used the stepping one with an angle here. Glued those in place. Then I glued the lower legs in place, then the upper legs to the hip, and then glued this assembly into the lower legs. And hey Cypher, hope you're doing well. And then yeah, from there I built up. So then I built the torso. We extended the torso a little so he'd stand a little taller, because I feel like this like adjustment to proportion suits the Dreadnought better. Then I put together the torso, which for Forge World 1 is just the engine on the back and the head. And then yeah, I've glued the arms on this one because I know exactly which pose I want to have, but I've left them like this so I can work on magnetizing them, and that's just blue tack you see in there for now. So yeah, that's a quick rundown on how I'd build the Contemptors. And yeah, so welcome in Cypher. We are painting some Death Guard in an alternative way. And I saw that someone earlier mentioned about greens, and I don't think I got around to it. Random question, but do you think the Heresy Death Guard suit a darker or lighter green of their shoulder pads? I'd probably say a bit of a darker green. For these guys, we'll be using a very dark green, almost of a bluey green. Simply because of the artwork I'm referencing to go with this very alternative scheme of mostly silver. And hey, James. Can Contempt of Fists and Claws be adjusted to be the right or left arm, or is there a specific one for each? Good question. Well, let me just grab the sprues. So looking at it, so this is the hand part here where you glue your fingers on. It does look like it's symmetrical, so it would go on either side, as the thumb, which is on this side, and the fingers on this side mirror each other, so you could easily rotate it around to be on either side. What you do is you glue the fingers or the claws, depending on what you want, into here, and this glues onto the round bits. So yeah, you can pose it to be on either side. And if you buy the plastic kit from Games Workshop, you do get 2 lots of fists. Sorry about the sneezing. So you can run dual fist from the basic kit, but you can't from the Age of Darkness kit. The Age of Darkness kit does not come with this sprue here. This one's missing, which has the Volkite, Gatling gun, and conversion beam, as well as a plasma gun. And also the different front plates. Right. White. We could probably start painting the white colour. Just want to double check I've got the right white out. I will just get the scale colour white out just as a backup. Okay. So now it's time to start blocking in the white. Actually, no, let's do the green. I think the green should be done first because it'll be easier to tidy up after. And Cypher says he's going to work on his Pro Tools cape. Nice, I'm really looking forward to seeing how you get on with that, because you've been making good progress so far. You know what? No, I think I'll do the white, not green. But for this, we're going to use Corax white. And because we're painting over cream, it doesn't actually matter too much about cleaning the brush properly. But we still need to worry about consistency. We'll get some on our palette, get some water. This time we're going to be a lot more careful. And all the way as smooth as possible. But we're still going to be using this flat-headed brush. It was better than using a thin pointed brush. The thing you need to remember is white. Well, metallics over white tend to be brighter. I know it sounds obvious, but it means trying to repair colour over white isn't just as easy as painting over it, because it will have a different colour afterwards. And Hamish, you definitely did a very effective job of that rain dance. Because I can hear thunder overhead me as well. So, one layer into the white, but you can get a better idea now for where we're applying the white colour for this Death Guard mini. And hey Nate, how you doing? Yeah, so Hamish said that there was awful weather for him today, and pretty much within a minute of him saying that, I then started to have a very, very, very heavy rainfall where I am. And he proudly declared that he did a rain dance. So, yeah. The War Master Lupercat's powers are manifesting. And instead of a ruin storm, he gave us a thunderstorm. And Alex says, I just realised you can make Rylon noise in the new Contempt of Dreadnought kit. Yeah. Although I'd still recommend using the body from Forge World for the Emperor's Children, as that's what's used for the official model, so to speak, of Rylanor. If you want to do it properly, you need to buy the Emperor's Children Dreadnought from Games Workshop, from Forge World, sorry. And then you need to get the Weapons Upgrade Kit 2 from Games Workshop. And to be honest, it won't cost you that much more. I wonder how many Ultramarines he sacrificed. No, he's been sacrificing the Grey Names. And who has seen Rylanor's last stand? I'm assuming you mean the song, right? Yeah. One of Strangstorm's songs that I keep on my phone. Ascension Calls the Greys, yes. Yeah. No, I'd consider myself to be relatively good friends with Strangstorm, the guy who made Rylanor's Last Stand. He is a wonderful person. And his music's pretty good as well. And it has just occurred to me, I should probably ask him about if I can use his music on streams, because I think that would be quite nice. Well, I suppose that's a question for you lads in chat, and well, lads and ladies, and anything in between. Would you guys prefer to listen to more, you know, this type of music, or Mechanicum soundtrack, or Battlefleet Gothic, or Strangstorm's music? So what kind of music do you guys enjoy being in the background? Doyle says he really likes the synthwave. Awesome. Avocado, hey, welcome. Says, I like this music over Battlefleet Gothic soundtrack personally. The Mechanicum one is great, but this has the right level of energy without pulling. Nice. It's chill, conveniently always picks out creepier sounding songs when the Death Guard have been mentioned. I mean, I am having a hand in choosing intentionally the darker, more, darker horror sounding synth stuff whilst working on the Death Guard. Alex would like me to play Children of Machine God. Okay. So that's one vote for a Mechanicum song, but otherwise you guys seem to like the synthwave. And yeah, I feel like it needs to be said. But this is... Nope. Aberrant Mind, thanks for a follow. That was really good timing. Really wasn't expecting that as I leant over to look at my desk. But yeah, all the synthwave music is being done by White Bat Audio. They produce all of this incredible synthwave music, and it's all free to listen to and to use, and available on YouTube. So yeah, if you are enjoying the music, that's where you can find it. And it's all of the music, all the synthwave music we listen to on stream is made by the one guy as well. This guy is ridiculously talented and I love his work. So much so that even when I'm not on stream, I'm listening to his synthwave music. So yeah, again, I know it's very non-traditional, but there's some progress on how the white looks. For those guys trying to keep track with how I'm painting these guys. And yeah, it's coming along nicely. And hi Tuppy, it's Doyle. Got the stream on Twitch, trying to do my best to support. Thank you so much. So yeah, if you feel like you can and you want to try and support me at the moment, for those who are watching on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it if you tried giving it a go on Twitch. At the moment, we are very, very close to being able to add some additional features to a channel from me becoming a Twitch affiliate. And all I need at the moment is just to bump up the average views on Twitch, as from the beginning of streaming, which is over a month ago now, the numbers were pretty low and I need to reach a certain average of viewers on Twitch. Which at the moment we're absolutely smashing, but the more people who can watch on Twitch, we're better for just helping this channel grow. Hey Anonymous, how are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day, Anonymous. I am doing pretty good. And it seems like chat's been having a pretty good day as well so far, so... And thanks for follow Avocado Pear. That's a great name. That's such a fun name to say. I've got to admit that is a really fun username to say. And yeah, thanks for following on Twitch. Really helps if you guys do this. The only downside is I am being jump scared a little by the follow notifications. So yeah, I've just been very lucky that the 2 new follows today so far on stream have been in such a way that I haven't messed up the painting. But yeah, once we've reached that goal to become an affiliate, we'll be able to then like add some additional things. So if you're familiar with Twitch, there's the option to donate bits, which is kind of like Twitch's own currency, and I can use those to trigger like silly things and stuff. So if you want to basically pay to watch silly things happen, like if you want quacks on demand, then it'll unlock your ability to do that. Also, it doesn't necessarily help you guys on YouTube. You can always pop over, do the annoying thing, and carry on watching on YouTube. It would also allow things like members, well, subscriptions, as they're called on Twitch as well. And yeah, really looking forward to reaching that. It's a matter of time at this point, but yeah, the more people watching on Twitch, rather than just YouTube, or on Twitch rather than YouTube, the better. And this guy's falling off his base, so let's just quickly get him back on. Old airbrush needle. Yes, that should be good to go. So I'll put him to the side. I suppose the sergeant will be a good one for showcasing just what we're doing. So hopefully that will focus. Painting all of the armor plating white, leaving the rest of the power armor silver. Yeah, everything about the so yeah, I'll read it out so both you guys, both people in both streams can see what's going on, because I appreciate that. Obviously, if you're on one platform and people talking on the other, it's a bit annoying. To try and read what's in the corner of the screen. So Doyle says, "Nice. I'm looking through the Contemptor instructions. Quite glad that they've actually stated which weapons are which in this kit." Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it helps, hey? And hey, Hollow, how are you doing? And yeah. Very proud and loyal son of Barbarous. So, yeah, welcome on in, Hollow. So what we're doing is actually, you might remember this. We're painting up the Death Guard based off a more literal and lore accurate way of that the armor is completely unpainted. So it means Ceramite is white and Power Armor is a grey silver color. And we're playing into the first couple of books of the Horus Heresy series, in which Power Armor is described as being grey. And but to not make this an impossibly irrelevant scheme for Death Guard players who might be watching and interested in following along, we're painting all the Ceramite on top of the Power Armor white, so we can have the best of both worlds. It's also why I didn't push on and do the Mark II Marines, as they wouldn't have any white on them. And I feel like that kind of misses the point of making an army which is relevant and educational for Death Guard players. And yeah, we'll be going very heavy on the weathering with these boys as well, making significant use of oils and enamel washes, as it seemed like a lot of you guys were very hungry for it from the Imperial Knight painting stream we did. And yeah, as the Death Guard don't mind their armor getting rusty as long as it's still functional, we'll be able to do a lot more of the gross weathering on these boys. And the same with the Contemptor as well. So Anonymous is asking, Doyle, is the Contemptor good to build? Yes, it is very good to build. It's one of my favourite kits to build. It's a little bit complex, just because of how incredibly posable it is. But it is a very, very good kit that goes together really well once you get your head around the movement of it. Because if you were to find a way to actually lock the pivot points in, you could quite easily turn it into an action figure. Or I suppose a doll of some kind. And why do these Death Guard not have any paint on their armor? Because the Death Guard don't paint their armor. It's stated in the lore that other than identification markings, the Death Guard do not bother to paint their armor. The reason why they're depicted as white or cream is to show that their armor is plain ceramite, although it has got a bit convoluted and messy. With newer lore about the Death Guard, but yeah, originally it was they just, in the lore, don't paint their armor because they don't see it as worthwhile or practical. It's just a waste of time And the Death Guard and the Iron Warriors are very, very practically minded legions. And yeah, the only paint they put on their armor is identification markings. Because being able to tell who is who in battle is quite important, but otherwise you don't need to paint your entire legion in such bright and obvious colours like reds or blues or purples or greens. Pretty easy to recognise a Space Marine, and generally speaking, during the Great Crusade, as long as it's a Space Marine, you know it's an ally. So the Death Guard didn't bother painting their armour to be identifiable, just the markings so you know who is from which squad and stuff. They're basically the opposite extreme to what the Ultramarines did, in which case, colour schemes like the Nova Marines, white and blue quartered, comes from the company colours of one of the Grand Companies, or chapters I think they're actually called in the Ultramarines, because basically every chapter of the Ultramarines during the Heresy had a different colour scheme. There's some variety of blues and whites normally. And Ollie suggests it's quite easy to turn the Contemptors into posable dolls of some kind using elastic thread. And thinking about it, yeah, it probably would be quite easy to do that. Awesome, we can basically have a day tomorrow of just building Contemptors together. As yet, tomorrow's stream will basically just be me building the Death Guard Contemptor. And Ghosty says he's planning on working on his as well. Cool, we're going to have a full Fury of the Ancients army by the end of tomorrow. And welcome back, Alex. Let's layer up with white on the Death Guard. So yeah, to recap, that's where we're replacing the white on this Death Guard. Which boy will I award the crossed scythes to? That's a point, does it? I'm assuming it can be multiple people in a squad, right? And welcome back, Hamish. Well, that's another day of work survived and not been washed away in the thunderstorm either. Much success. Great. And now you can watch me paint Death Guard. So, yeah. Oh, and hey, Dart, how are you doing? Doing something heroic in battle and then drink from cups from a terrain, not whinge. Cool. So what I'll do is, it will generally, what I'll do is I'll put crossed scythes on all of the models that survive their first game. And considering I'm building a tactical squad at the moment, which is basically designed to be expendable, yeah, we'll see how this goes, especially the sergeant who has an Alchem pistol. So yeah, crossed scythes will be awarded to everyone who survives the first battle of this detachment. And what am I up to? I am painting some Death Guard for the Horus Heresy tabletop game of Warhammer 40,000. And Hollow says, I hope they all like drinking antifreeze and hydrochloric acid. Well, we'll find out, won't we? And Gosu says, I can't make this up. My neighbor has been hospitalized twice for this year after drinking antifreeze. So, no crossed scythes for him then. And yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of what Hollow's saying because I don't want to be responsible for anyone trying anything stupid. And Harry says, actually, it's pronounced Warhammer 30,000. But yeah, actually, it's the 31st millennium. That is also true. Now that's a question. What colour head crest should I put on the sergeant? Black and green. Could try. I was actually thinking just solid black. You know what would be a really good idea? Consult the book, which literally shows me how. So Alex says, I'm confused because AI robots is banned and yet Castellan robots are walking around. And as Hollow on Twitch says, because they're not AI. As long as they have a bit of human brain matter and it's not an AI, it's permissible. Yep, exactly. And yeah, so in the Liber Hereticus, it has the head crests. It's not really that visible, but it has the head crests. You can barely see it in the corners as a dark red color. So we could do dark red or we could do black. And Hollow's made a fantastic point. Those are Christmas colours. We'll do black. I don't want Christmas Marines, I'm sorry. I find I find Blood for Blood God always works. Yeah, but this is, you know, Plagues for Plague God, so... I just need to work on it like that. It's a very good thing I don't have a face camera yet to show my face whilst I'm at my hobby desk. Because well, the paint I'm looking for is on the hobby desk. And Hollow says, not if they all get mowed down in pitch battle before Nogo can get his filthy little hooks into them, I suppose. And Hamish says that 'tis the season for giving rad grenades. Fine, I'll do a red. And Hollow says, I like where you think, Hamish. The greatest gift of all, acute radiation poisoning. You know, I'm gonna have to do a Seeker squad for Death Guard now. Because just like Chernobyl themed Seekers, I feel would just be a really fun, silly side project, and that's basically a summary of this entire Death Guard army. Oh my god. It's beginning to look a lot like sepsis. I'm not going to sing any more lines because it's too funny and too difficult for me to sing along. Damn it, Homer. You lot are all disgusting. So, Anonymous said, Merry pustules, everyone. Adolf says, we need a singing stream now. Your singing voice was awesome. Thanks, but also no. Yeah, to put it bluntly, I won't do any real singing seriously, unless you guys pay a lot of money for me to do it. So, yeah, no. Dart asks, how much? Well, that's the fun thing. I can't think of a number, so... what is your favorite orc war boss? To be honest, I don't really know enough about orcs to have chosen a favorite. I was like, whilst I think orcs are probably one of the most fun factions in the game, I haven't really read too much into their lore because overall they're not a faction that particularly interests me. And yeah, you're out of luck. Grimskull is also a fun war boss. But to be honest, I think the favourite one I've read about is a homebrew one. And it's by a friend of mine, and it's an orc called Dazgood Toothripper. And his entire concept of a homebrew was very much a jokey one of an orc trying to teach economics. and he did an incredibly good job. And in the video that was made for 40k Theories channel on him, Remlay's got a voice actor to read out a little speech from Dazgood, and it's just incredible and really, really funny. You know what? We're going to take a little break to listen to it, because I don't think Remlay's will mind me playing a section of it. Oh, and yeah, as Wu points out, it's orconomics, not economics. And Adora says, I find it hilarious that Teenage Orc Rebellion is just them being organised and tactical. Yeah. I think this is it. Oh, no. Hold on a second. Professional streamer at play here. Just need to find where I put the music we're listening to. There we go. Righty.
Welcome to Dazgood Tooth Ripper's College of Orconomics. If you stab a grot with a orc tooth, then you bash another grot with a bag of 100 human teeth, the grots are equally dead. That means 100 human teeth are equal to 1 orc tooth. Eldar and Tau teeth are even wimpier than humies, so a 10 of them is worth 1 human tooth. If someone pays you to crump a kid, and you wait to crump to get paying you till some other kid pays you, not only do you get more teeth, but the first kid might hire you again. If someone pays you to crump a kid that's paid you before, tell him first. They might give you more teeth to crump the kid and hire you. Then you can crump whichever one you want, or both. Don't crump someone who hires you right away, no matter how much of a git they are. Because they might hire you again, and you get more teeth that way. Wait till some other kid pays you to. Or until they tries to turn on you. Or you think they're gonna turn on you. Or they got something flash you want. Or they just looks at you funny. When you're stuffing your boys in a rock to land on a flush new planet to crump, make sure you fill up all the space inside. This is called the principle of efficiency. It means you get the most crumping for the least teeth you spit on the rock. If they land, they'll get unloaded much more of the attacker. If they crash and die, You don't have to pay that many more boys for fighting. I learned this neat trick when talking to Yumis. If you sees them acting fishy, just give them a salute and say, Hydra Dominatus. You wouldn't believe how much some of them will pay us if you do. It's a trick I saw a spiky boy do once, and I don't know why it works, but it's worth trying. When a kid eyes it and he looks like he won't again, you gotta find out where he keeps his teeth, or things that can be traded for teeth, and loot him real sneaky and cunning-like. Also, tell him you incurred expenses for things you didn't do, since you ain't gonna hire anymore anyway. This is called embezzlement. The most important thing to take, though, is info. Learn whatever you can about the kid. Then, you should sell it to someone that hates him. And let's face it, every kid like this has enemies. And maybe even get one of them enemies to hire you to crumpet. Them Quizzer kids is the best customers. If I charge you an entire planet's worth of teeth, they might actually pay for it. If all of us invests in armor, we've got a better shot at crumping kits without them crumping back. The only thing that keeps you crumping is good economics.
What do you mean turning this thing off takes 12 hours of rites and 3 drums of sacred oils? Zog it, I'll just keep going. Eventually he's gonna pick a few students that seem promising and convince them to accept a business opportunity. The Gits give him a small portion of their loot, and then they recruit other Gits who's gonna give him a portion of their loot, who'll then recruit other Gits themselves, and you know how it goes. The more they get them Gits, the more loot they get, especially when their own recruits begin recruiting as well. By organizing his tribe, which he calls a class, into a pyramid scheme structure like this, Dazgood's able to not only gather a huge number of forces in a short amount of time, but also manipulates his follower Gits into maintaining quite the high degree of cohesion, at least by orc standards. This structure ensures that Nobs ain't the only orcs with an incentive to keep other orcs from fleeing. The boys will also go out of their way to keep any others that they've recruited in the fight as well. Of course, this only lasts as long as those stuck in the scheme don't see through it. While it's exceedingly rare for the rank and file boys to do so, other war bosses who've been connected to Dazgood might be smart enough to figure it out. If Dazgood can't stamp these Gits' voices of reason out before word spreads far enough, the entire structure of the tribe will collapse. When this happens, it forces Dazgood to resort to typical orc bullying to keep enough boys in line to kill the rebel Gits. He'll then lead his remaining forces into some sort of suicidal situation, while he himself slips away, ensuring that none of those Gits live to reveal his con to the next batch of boys when he starts again. Oi, tech boy! Is this really Orcish I'm talking? Would those Gits understand? I'm not sure if the accent is quite correct. Well, it's not my fault it takes 12 hours. Zog it.
So yeah, that was a wonderful bit of nonsense put together by by 40k Theories, and probably my favourite Orc War boss there, Dazgood Tooth Ripper. And yeah, somehow talking about Orc War bosses leads to this. Yeah, he's probably my favourite Orc War boss anyone's come up with. And it's kind of terrifying how, well, for a fan-made Orc War boss, that actually works out. And yeah. Best war boss. If Scamrak was an orc. Oh my god. Well, if Scamrak was an orc, then he definitely would have been a student of Dazgood. He's definitely not Dazgood. Because Dazgood is able to actually, you know, coherently put together sentences using large words. So... And to go back over chat whilst we were listening to that, hey Bloker, hope you're enjoying yourself. That was a bit of a tangent. But yeah, we're doing good with the Death Guard. Getting around to putting the second layer of white over the armor on them. And yeah, just, well, chatting nonsense. I have no clue why Nightbot did that. Oh. Okay. Can't talk politics here, no, but yes. Yeah, vote for Dazgood and we get more teeth. It says I'm a heretic, it's fine. There is a weird sensation to painting white, knowing fully well it's barely going to be recognisable as white once you've finished applying all the weathering to it. And not applicable, or it's going to be weird trying to call you not applicable. Yeah, Warhammer models are quite detailed. These are less detailed models, believe it or not, than some. I mean, I made this one a bit more detailed by putting the Vox on his backpack. But yeah. At least, yes, I just refer to him as NA. Yeah, I suppose. Let's finish putting in some of Horus Green and recoating bolters. Pauldrons back again with 42 beakies. Nice. That's fared up. Hey Ginger, how you doing? And yeah, these are 30k Death Guard. Unless 10th edition is an absolute miracle and happens to be really fun to play, all I'll be doing on this channel is Horus Heresy stuff. As, yeah, I don't enjoy the new playstyle of 8th and 9th edition. So yeah, I'll be sticking to just Horus Heresy stuff for quite a while. And not bad, finished work, now time for 1 day off and 6 more in. Well, nice, I guess. Hope you enjoy your day off. And the Horus Heresy really made a comeback, to be fair. It got me back into modelling and not just being a lore demon. Yeah, pretty much same. Thankfully, the Horus Heresy has always had quite a bit of support in my local area, so I've been able to consistently get games of Horus Heresy through the span of 8th and 9th edition. Oh yeah, for those who haven't necessarily been following the channel and my progress on streams too closely, the idea is this is going to be an allied detachment to my Emperor's Children to bring that fire support which I lack in a way which still feels thematic and fluffy, as my Emperor's Children force is very much built around the Palatine Lodge, so all of the duelists and close combat obsessies. It doesn't really make too much sense for my army to have any real ranged units except for Cacophony. So I want to add some ranged firepower, and instead of going for the obvious route of Iron Warriors, because so many people here who follow the channel and support the channel are Death Guard players, it was only right and sensible to go for the other ranged traitor legions stuff. So yeah, get together a Death Guard force. But to be consistent with being inconsistent and shaking up the meta to a degree, we're painting the Death Guard in a different way. And we're basing it off the Black Library description of the Death Guard, as well as some of the old Visions of Heresy artwork, which depicts them wearing silver armor with green trim and bronze accents in places. But we're also tying in a bit more of the old narrative as well, in having the white ceramite plating. So with these Mark III Marines, we have white ceramite plating on the front of the Mark III, and where the bits are still Mark II, we're leaving silver. And Alex asks, if you could make a Warhammer 40k 30k fantasy game, what kind of game would it be? FPS and all that, what armies would be in it? I'd basically try and make a game that plays as functionally as close as possible to Battlefield 2 or Battlefield 3, and I'd set it with Horus Heresy as the Space Marine Legions. And I'd make every map themed around a certain campaign, kind of like what the Battlefield 1 did. So you'd have a Calf map, and you'd play as either the Ultramarines or Word Bearers. You'd have a Prospero map where you play as Space Wolves of Thousand Suns, Siege of Terror would be a mix, and so on like that. I'd make basically Battlefield 30k would be the perfect game for me. And that's basically how I'd make it. Honestly, because I did do a bit of game design at college, I have been thinking about trying to put together something like that, but I'd have to learn so much in order to do it that it's not really anything I've really ventured too deep into, other than messing around in Armor 3, trying to put together mod packs and game modes. You know, like the Conquest game mode, which I built for Varrock streams. It's like we're doing a Battlefield 30k, or Battlefield 30,000. It would also add an opportunity to add some different elements in, because on top of health you have armor, which is something we've been experimenting with in Battlefield 4 and now Battlefield 2042. And I think if you got a fun system down where you got double the health and stuff, and you have your health regen and your armor regen, like a game like Halo down for the power armor, or I suppose Eternal Crusade as well, it could be a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, being able to customize what parts of what armor you take would be a fun way to customize it in my mind. So again, kind of following how Eternal Crusade did things. Because again, I'm one of those people who thinks Eternal Crusade was a wasted opportunity, and I think most people do. It's like if you could choose like what marks of armor for the different parts of your weapons are, and like what type of bolt gun you had, but the physical colors of your Marine and your different loadouts was locked to the games you were playing, I think that would probably make for the most fun way of doing it. In a way that would help sell a narrative and a style. Gosu said that sounds so cool, and Alex says his idea would be an FPS hero shooter with Adeptus Mechanicus versus Necrons, and DLC that adds in Tower, Adeptus Custodians, and Tyranids. So basically you want to turn Mechanicum into a Overwatch style game is basically what you'd want to do, Alex. That could be interesting. And Anonymous says he's got to go. Have a wonderful evening or a wonderful day, Anonymous, and catch you later. Or tomorrow, depending on what happens. And I guess I'm from a slightly older generation of FPS gamers, and I don't really vibe of the whole hero shooter concept. I very much like the everyone is theoretically equal, everyone has access to the same weapons and the exact same abilities and stuff angle of true FPS games. As I do like competition, and I do like, competing and stuff. And I feel like hero shooters, whilst being insanely competitive, because obviously you got the meta of different heroes' abilities and stuff, it kind of takes away an edge, because in any given situation, when you're locked into those different heroes and characters, how you play in those individual engagements is suddenly quite more limited than if you have just open access to different weapons and equipment. And in that sense, it's also why I prefer certain strategy games like the older Total War series. And overall, my favourite Total War series game is Napoleon Total War. I really like because basically every single faction is more or less equal to a degree. And it makes for a very fun, matched, equal playing field, where it comes down to the skill of what units that everyone has access to people take. And yeah, it's also another reason why I'm drawn to the Horus Heresy as well. And hey Mal, welcome on in. Good morning. Working on my Proteus land speeders at the moment. Awesome. I am thinking of getting a couple of land speeders for this Death Guard force I'm working on. Yeah, there's a question for you guys. Because obviously, I think I've made it relatively clear. But I do like playing other games other than Warhammer stuff in terms of video game content, especially Total War. Would you guys be interested in potentially watching me do Let's Plays of some of the older games? Again, like Napoleon Total War and Medieval 2 as well. They're two games I really enjoy playing. Woo over on Twitch said yes. And Alex and Doyle also agree. Cool. So what I'm thinking of doing is kind of copying how the Total War content creator Lionheart does his videos. Just kind of like a hybrid setup. So he streams him playing it, and then Brick cuts it up and uploads the episodes from the streams. Like cutting out, donation sounds and other stuff. To turn it into a video. And I'd quite like to give that a go at some point. Hollow suggests, do a game of Eternal Crusade just to see how long it takes to connect to a match. Well, there are no matches anymore. Eternal Crusade has been permanently shut down. That red isn't on the table. Nope. Let's see. Oh yeah, just trying to find the red we'll use for the crest. Doyle says, "Hi Tuppy, just asking for some painting advice with Dreadnought. How would you paint behind and underneath the head?" So with the head, I'll just use Forge World one. What I'd do is I'd paint it all in black, to be honest. I don't think there's any need to paint any detail around it, as you want the head to be a focal point anyway. So yeah, I'd paint the entire interior of the head area black. And paint beneath, and yeah. And what I've also done is this isn't actually glued in, so I can take it out at some point. And all I'll do is just airbrush inside. Okay, well, I guess we're going to just have to use Blood Angel's Red for the red. I mean, how would you paint in that area? Well, I'm going to use an airbrush, personally. And the other answer, and I think this is one you're probably going to need if you're asking this, with a great deal of time and patience, and a brush. Yeah, my advice is to remember that not everything needs to be painted. Just everywhere which people can see. Which generally means if you can get your airbrush into get your brush into it, you should paint it. If not, it doesn't matter. He looks a bit like a lunar wolf at the moment, doesn't he? Thinking about it. If it wasn't for the giant scythe, you could probably get away with saying he's a lunar wolf. Mal said, yeah, if I'm painting for just tabletop, if I can't see it on the tabletop, I don't paint it myself, yeah. It's like, I know it's like a very much completionist thing and a perfectionist thing, but yeah, I would highly recommend letting go. And, you know, I'm not getting too caught up on painting every single area. And yeah, as Bloka said, contrast paints are really good. In my personal experience so far, friendship ended with Black Templar. Contrast Black Legion is now best friend. This stuff is incredible. Righty, I think it's time for a green, because I don't really want to do too much to push for white. That paint is amazing, but looks crap for it. Yeah. So now we're going to scale colour Black Forest Green for the green trim on these Death Guard. So the reason why I prefer the Black Templar contrast is basically just down to the fact it's more of a single pigment paint, which means it doesn't do the whole highlighting thing. It is just a very thin and very nice to use black paint. I'm not painting the rest of the Christmas tree on the sky. Though I haven't actually tested this colour scheme, I just know where the paints are meant to go, so I might change this out for a darker green at some point. But it is meant to be this like very vibrant green colour for this colour scheme. Bloke said, first being a Renault fan, now this, I can't take much more. I mean, when it comes to current 40k, I quite like Alpine. Current Formula 1, I quite like Alpine. But yeah, it's like as a kid growing up, I was always a fan of Fernando Alonso and Renault back in the day, simply because of how much they upset my parents, who are Michael Schumacher fans. Whilst we let that dry to see how it looks, what we'll do is we'll switch over to well, actually no, I'll do it. I'll drag the artwork in. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to. Sadly, back to work. Good thing. They're slow, so I can watch a stream. I'm quite excited to see your shoulder-mounted EC guys. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to getting the new upgrades sprue so I can do it properly. Right, give me a moment. I just need to grab the image that we're using as a reference, and then we can carry on. So, save that image. And right. So 7 viewers, 7 cat ear streams. Where's the other one? Well, I got 7 viewers on YouTube at the moment. Oh my god, I got 3 7s. My god. Browse. Do we want desktop? There we go. So this is one of the squads which I'm referencing for the artwork at the moment. I'll just, fill the screen with it for a brief moment. So this is what we're kind of going for green trim. I'll try and find the other Death Guard artwork which I'm referencing at the moment. But yeah, this is the... So yeah, if you're in chat at the moment, what would be really fun for you guys to do is, I'm going to say this basically only once, but spam Death Guard related emojis for a second just so we can highlight who's here and show off that there are 7 people on the 2 different channels and we have the 7 cat ear streams to do. Look at me being all professional. Bloker, come on. Get one job. Look, even the Nightbot isn't happy with you. Come on. Not for eggplants. Anyway, so... And yeah, the other image, which is where I got the green in particular from, is this one. And again, one of my favourite artworks of the Death Guard. And I don't know why, but the chat room is empty. So a reminder, Alex, I stream both to Twitch and to YouTube. So you'll see messages on chat from YouTube and other people on Twitch, which is majority of people at the moment, which is cool to see. Are actually on Twitch, but yeah, they're being quiet at the moment and are not trying to fight back against Nightbot apparently. And yeah, well, considering we're currently sat on 8 average viewers, I think we're going to be pushing towards that quite fast. So yeah, we're looking quite good at the moment, guys. And thank you guys so much for trying to, well, help me perfectly balance Twitch in order to get us more stuff to do. But yeah, so there's a kind of inspiration for the thanks to a follow, Mal. Helps a lot. And also, hey there, Dare Loki on Twitch. So, yeah, we are currently painting Death Guard, and yeah, this is the kind of green which I'm trying to push for. I think this might take a couple of layers to get there. Although I might change that up for a more pale green. To try and, you know, tie it back in. And why do I have thigh muscle sculpted into their armor? To show that they are one of the legions that doesn't skip leg day. Because you cannot stop the advance. I'm gonna head out and smoke. If you're still alive once I finish, I'm gonna chill some more. No worries. Duck, I hope you've enjoyed your stay here in the little Warhammer community. And we'll see you later. And yeah, I'm just trying to find what other greens I have that we can try. Yes, yeah, whilst I'm going for that dark green, woodwork. Yeah, I think it might be a little cartoony. And Death Guard only used the Stairmaster at the gym. No, they use the rotating climbing wall. And we'll switch back to... And I will offer you greetings from the Fourth. Well met, cousin of the Iron Warriors. Whilst I am currently in the process of painting Death Guard, they are not my main legion of choice. My first and true love is the Emperor's Children. I just want some fire support, and no point wasting talent of the 3rd Legion on such trivial things. So I've hired the Death Guard in order to provide the fire support for me. If I can't kill it with my sword, then it's not fun. And right now we're just trying to work out what green we're going to use for the trim. So these are two slightly different shades. And what I'll do is I'll probably paint these on top of a Tamiya bottle so you guys can see them. And you guys can help me choose. So keeping with the ooh, wow, that didn't mix it well at all. Okay. So the first one we're going to have a look at is called Olive Grey. Although it's a green colour, so not too sure. It's probably a bit too desaturated. I suppose that's why it's called grey, but it's definitely a more of a military green colour. It's kind of colour you see on like Sherman tanks and stuff. And Al says, yeah, I want to run 10 Tartarus Lightning Claw Flamers in a Spartan and 10 Phoenician in a Spartan to go play with Loyalists. Wait, hold on, wait, Mal, you play Emperor's Children as Loyalists? And Earl says, I still love the Emperor's Children. Everyone should love the Emperor's Children. So who doesn't love the best? Oh, and no, they go play with Lois. Oh, okay, good. I was gonna say, yeah. This is a traitor party. So, yeah. No turncoats welcome. And yes, I'm aware of what I just said. So hopefully you guys can see that. So the one on the left here is a lot more green, this one's a bit more grey. Do you think either of those would work? This is a really awkward position to try and hold this in for you guys. And here's thinking Horus and Sons are supposed to be a bast, wasn't he? Was he? And why did the Emperor's Children need to do all the work? And going off at artwork, I try experimenting with Caliban and gradually adding Cabalite to up for lane, maybe some Sibolite for the highlights, yeah. So Wu says right. Hollow says left. Doyle says right. Hamish. Loyalist Amos should make a great force next to Loyalist Sons of Horus and Word Bearers. God, this is really awkward to hold at this, because I kind of just have to hold my arm out, right? Okay, I like left, left. Honestly, I think I am personally leaning more towards the left with this one. Sons of Horus Loyalists? Nah. Yeah, Cypher thinks right. Okay. Left. My god, it's starting to sound like marching orders. Left, right, left, right, left, right. I'm going to give the left one a go, because I think it will work a bit nicer. It's a bit more true to the Death Guard green. Oh, spell a little. And yeah, I suppose that's another thing to remember as well, is these guys, suppose, yeah, for Loki, you're probably new here, because I don't recognize your name. I'm largely painting these guys to be a painting tutorial on how to use enamel and oil washes. So yeah, these guys will end up looking filthy and disgusting anyway. I'm gonna start putting together weapons because I'm way too excited, but nervous to put together this kit. Yeah, that's fair, Doyle. I get the excitement about building kits. It takes a lot of restraint at the moment to hold off on building stuff in order to get it to do it on stream. There's some stuff I have lined up at this point that I have to wait on and not work on in my spare time because I want to show you guys and share that journey with you. And Nate Rossi says, filthy and disgusting. I thought you said you were painting them as Death Guard, not Reclaimers of Dawn. Ooh, that's spicy. But yeah, these are going to be very gross and disgusting boys that are doing all the unpleasant fun stuff, like shooting at the enemies. So my Emperor's children can do the stuff they enjoy. And Mel says, one thing I love about Warhammer models, the dirtier they look, the more people like them. Well, yeah, that is true. It's one of the things I honestly find really amusing as someone who started off doing scale models and has always been interested in doing scale miniatures, is just how many Warhammer players just don't understand weathering techniques. And how they're always caught up so much on heavy metal painting styles and trying to match the artwork despite wanting to do scale miniature style painting. that just so many basic and common weathering techniques which are common to scale modelers are just like dark and ancient technology and lost tech to 40k players. And yeah, I love to use pigments and dusts. Yeah, exactly. They just help make things look really cool. And no, Hollow, we are not going to cover our miniatures in mould. Whilst being authentic to a Death Guard, we are not doing that. Awesome. Hamish on YouTube says, wait, you mean to tell me Space Marines are not fresh off the pipeline, cleaning their armor every 10 minutes to keep it shiny? Only the Imperial Fists and Ultramarines are like that because they don't do much else otherwise in 40k. And Nate says, again on YouTube, I mean, when I started out, washers were viewed as professional level touches. Yeah, I suppose there's some truth in that. Going now for a painful thing of painting all the trim. Green as well. Doyle. I said in 40k, not 30k, because the Ultramarines are quite active, despite what people say in the Horus Heresy. I'm scared to even use a new oil. It depends what you're using it for. If you're using it just for shading and, putting some paint into the gaps and recesses, the new stuff is better. If you want to tint and stain your models a darker color, then yeah, you're in trouble with the new non-oil versus the old. And Loki says, well, I'm off for today. Goodbye. Thanks for coming around and having a look, Loki. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and yeah, catch you next time. God, trying to paint all this trim is a nightmare. Hopefully the camera's focusing in enough for you guys. Oh yeah, there's a better idea of how the green looks. Obviously that's still first layer, but yeah. And Holly says, now that silence is printed, assembled and sprayed, I'm going to go through real quick over the actual curved snaff. Nice. Yeah, we're able to put some pictures in Discord. Now, these Proteus land speeders bring back Rogue Trader first edition 40k. Yeah. I really like that they've revived the old style design. Oh, and yeah, if you're new, just watching or interested in hanging out with the community more, there is a Discord server. It's linked on both my YouTube and my Twitch. And if you're on YouTube, you should be able to just type in !Discord and it should bring it up. And for some reason, Nightbot is being fussy with me over on Twitch, so if you want a link, it's on my page. If not, I can drop you one in the chat. Says, damn, I know they're not lunar walls, but they look good already. And Douglas says, it feels weird building weapons this large. Yeah, they are big, aren't they, for a Contemptor? And oh, it says not a super exaggerated curve, but this is all I ever wanted. Oh. I need to consult the rulebook a second for the helmet for this guy. So. No, the sergeant is meant to have a green stripe down the middle of his helmet. So, let's have a go at that then. Yeah, I'm gonna mount him. Well, at least he fell backwards and didn't break the scythe. So Hamish isn't working on anything right now. He's having a nice lazy day. Might build some Contempt weapons later this evening. And then he has a Spartan Contemptor and Titan left to build. Yeah, you take your time on the Titan, Hamish. You take all the time in the world with that. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to weathering these up. Now, what time is it? Right, what I think I'm going to do is we're going to finish off this model. Mal says, I'm selling the condo at the moment. Once it sells, I'm going to buy a Reaver Titan. Think it's the biggest the wife won't complain about. See, the trick is, right, and I'll let you guys in on a little secret, is to get yourself a partner who's also into Warhammer. That way they understand and won't complain too much. So what we're going to do is we're now going to paint the gold and brass elements of this guy, because there are some. So again, what we're going to do well, remember, Nate, if they're spending their money on Warhammer, you're not spending that, so there's that side to it as well. Hmm. I'm debating whether or not I should go for a brass faceplate. I think I should. Or at least I should do it on the sergeant here. At the very least, I feel like he would probably have one. Well, actually, Bloker, it's a Warbringer. There goes that. Righty, so I think for now this is as far as we're really going to get this Marine and this squad. So this should give you a rough idea of the direction we're going in with the guys. Shame I messed up the copper there, but hey. So obviously the staff, well, the pole of this scythe is going to be wood. And these are all barbarous. No Terrans here. So yeah, hopefully you guys like how this is going, but I'm going to wrap up the stream now. It's getting rather late and I need to have dinner. So, thanks everyone for coming by and joining me for the last few hours. Hope you guys have found it interesting. Remember, if you're on Twitch, to follow if you enjoy this kind of content and enjoy hanging around here. If you're on YouTube, remember to hit subscribe if you haven't already done so and you enjoy it. And if you're over there, remember to hit like as well if you do, or dislike. If you do dislike it, it helps me know what you guys want to see. And yeah, if you missed any of the stream, you can always watch the full VOD back on the YouTube channel. And yeah, take it easy, guys. Oh, and if you want to help support the channel, then remember you can always support me via Ko-fi or Patreon. Doing so greatly helps, and yeah, helps fund more projects like this. And yeah, if you haven't already done so, come and join us on the Discord server on YouTube !Discord, and I'll put a link in the Twitch chat. And I'll put it in YouTube as well, just so you guys both get it. So yeah, if you want to hang out, come over to the Discord server. If not, we'll catch you next time.